Hey everyone, GScotty here. In this series, I try to get an hour of gameplay for every dollar spent on a certain game. So, with that in mind, is Undertale worth $1 an hour? Make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and let's check it out. Every now and again, something will come along that will shake up the cultural zeitgeist. Think the Avengers movies, Dragon Ball, sliced bread, you get the picture. These things don't just come in, make a good impression, and then get forgotten in a few days. These juggernauts permanently change the way we think about things, and their influence reaches a very large amount of people. Video games also have these quote-unquote culturally defining titles that have an insanely strong, almost cult-like following. Games like Super Mario 64, Halo, League of Legends, Dark Souls. There are a ton of games that have gripped the greater populace and have changed our perception of other games for better and for worse. One such video that escaped me when it first came out was Undertale. I had heard everyone and their mothers loved this game, that it was the greatest experience ever and that it changed their lives, all that jazz. Now, I think it's great that the game had such a positive response. I had nothing against the game or anything, but I just never got around to it or played it or learned about its story. Well, my friend Dan found out, and suddenly I have Undertale in my Steam library. Thanks, Dan, I guess. Anywho, Undertale is $10 US on Steam, so I'll be seeing if we can get at least 10 meaningful hours out of the game. Time to be filled with determination. And spaghetti. Before we continue, if you like stories about epic fantasy worlds, be sure to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. My novel, Tales of Time, The Demigod's Awakening, is about to be published. All we're waiting on is the cover art, and it'll be available to pick up for yourself. If you like fantasy, epic high-stakes duels, or even things like manga or anime, you should check it out. I'll keep you guys posted when I can share more information and the official release date. But anyway, let's get back to Undertale. Undertale was developed by Toby Fox and released September 15th, 2015. A young child falls deep into the underground, which is a land full of monsters completely separate from the world of humans. However, how you progress is completely up to you. Will you fight, or will you find peace with these creatures by showing mercy? Your adventure will be heavily influenced on the choices you make. This action-adventure RPG has a lot of inspirations that helped Fox build it up, such as Super Mario RPG, Shin Megami Tensei 1992, and most notably, Mother, or Earthbound. However, Undertale takes its inspirations with grace and stands out as its own title with ease. I found the entirety of the experience to be a unique one, which is always very nice. I played this game with high expectations, but where I was surprised the most was, well, three things, actually. One, these characters are insanely lovable. I admittedly never understood why people kept memeing the daylights out of the Sans guy, but now I've played the game and yeah, I get it 100%. This dude is an absolute goof and Giga Chad all at the same time. But it isn't just Sans that leaves a mark. I genuinely fell head over heels for so many of these wonderful, wacky characters. The other thing I got super caught off guard with was this absolute banger of a soundtrack. Golly, Toby Fox is an absolute fiend with the beeps and the boops. I remember first getting into the game and the song Home started playing, and I was like, oh man, this is gonna be something special, isn't it? And then the music just got better as it went along. The audacity! Like, who made it legal for the theme song of a literal dummy to go this dummy hard? Spear of Justice is the penultimate jam of feeling like you're in a glorious battle of heroes. Metal Crusher is an absolute bop that I never hear anyone really talking about, that I'm really weirdly addicted to. Death by Glamour is the only song I'm okay being stepped onto. The choice! Goosebumps. Every time. Unfortunately, I can't even play the song Asgore in the background without some dummy falsely copywriting striking me, even though it's protected by fair use and you're not even Toby Fox, so get a life, nerd! I have a family to feed! Consider hitting the join button to save this man from early balding and to help feed his family. He only wants to show the world the awesomeness that is Asgore's theme without getting false copyright claims. This man also cries during the songs His Theme and Undertale Kithing Spy. Anyway, I could go on and on about the soundtrack of the game, But there is something I wanted to touch on, and that's the third thing that I was really surprised about. See, when it comes to RPGs like this, you really have to do something to make random encounters fun and engaging. Otherwise, I tend to roll my eyes and just keep spamming the escape button. And it just feels like such a grind fest. I despise having to grind mindless level ups in hopes that I can actually go toe-to-toe with the next boss, especially when the game doesn't scale well with its difficulty. With Undertale, however, I found the combat to not only be engaging, but something I actually looked forward to. You can choose to fight the monsters, but I found it much more fun to act, all in an attempt to befriend the monster. Also, Dan told me to try the pacifist run my first go around, so yeah, I hit the act button a lot. Oh yeah, there are actually multiple endings to this game. I won't be going into much detail about the endings, mainly because I've only achieved the pacifist ending, but also because I think they all have their merits and should be discovered for yourself as the player. Okay, before I go any further, I just want to say this. To all of you who love this game, please note that when I say that I have some criticisms of the game, that doesn't mean I hate it or it's terrible, okay? I just want to make sure that y'all understand that a game having downsides does not mean it's an overall bad experience, okay? You got it? Good. There are some things that I didn't like about Undertale. Not that many, and honestly, they're more nitpicks than anything. Mainly, I just didn't care for how jank the traversal felt at times. I chalk that up to being a product of, being an RPG Maker game that's almost 10 years old. Oh my gosh, I'm getting old. But yeah, I thought that a fast travel system or even a map of some sorts would have helped out. Maybe I skipped over a map or a fast travel system. You guys will have to let me know. Then there was the occasional timeline event breaks that took me out of the story, all because I didn't know about a certain location where an event that I was already supposed to have experienced was queued up, ready to go. Instead, the story just moved along, as if I had those story beats already in my head, and I felt like I missed out on some crucial character experiences because of it. Even though I did go back and experience all of those, it just didn't really feel like it hit the same. I don't know. Once again, I chalk this up for being a product of its bones and its time. I only bring up these mild frustrations because I want to review the game completely unbiased and give anyone who hasn't played the game but are interested in doing so a fair warning. Now, there is one big thing I hated about the game. Let me preface this by saying that I like a good challenge in video games. Heck, I love the Soulsborne games. I'm no stranger to tough bosses that you have to fight over and over again. With that being said, there is a single boss, or rather mini-boss, that made me want to tear out my hair. Consider hitting the join button to save this man from early ball. I obviously don't want to talk about the boss in detail here because, spoilers, but sufficeth to say, when I finally beat the boss, I didn't feel happy or accomplished, I just wanted to forget all about them. Besides that one big negative, I can't help but sing this game's praises. I can see why Undertale means so much to people. The characters are wonderful and easy to cheer for, the story is surprisingly deep and rich with very interesting lore, and the combat is really fun, if not terrifying at times. I just want to not get hit with the lasers, please. Undertale really is a work of art. I don't really want to talk about the story, beat for beat at least. Undertale was such a special event in my life. It made me laugh with all of its zany goofs and gags. It made me cry to see such intense pain and misery in the characters turn into clarity and peace. The depth of raw emotion that is flawlessly executed throughout is nothing short of extraordinary. I found myself cheering on Alphys as she gained more confidence in herself and her feelings. I felt my heart warm up when the tough as nails Undyne resolved to watch anime with Alphys. I found myself getting surprisingly choked up when the clown Sans suddenly sheds his lax nature and told me that I never gained love, but I gained love. I was shocked when Asgore, the monster I was told to fear the most, trusted the protagonist enough to become an ambassador for the monsters of humankind. I felt so at peace in my tumultuous journey when Toriel came to intervene in the fight against Asgore. Literally everything about Asriel was gut-wrenching, and my boy Papyrus finally got to ride in his flashy sports car. It was at this point that I realized I already hit the 12-hour mark, even though it felt like I simultaneously spent way less time and way more time with it, all at the same time. These monsters, from the most powerful of bosses all the way down to the freaking plain tsundere, were all incredibly charming. I love that you get to know them all so well. If you've played this game before, you know that I have yet to talk about the genocide ending. Well, there are two reasons for this. One, I try not to play beyond the hour per dollar spent for reviews specifically, and getting this pacifist ending took me beyond that point. And the second reason, I genuinely have no plans to do a genocide run in my personal time. If you know me, I have a huge bleeding heart. I have a hard time being rude in video games if I have the choice to do so. I don't know why. I understand that these are just pixels for crying out loud, but like, I don't want to hurt their feelings. All lightheartedness aside, I remember when I first did a more violent route in my favorite video game, and I had to kill a bunch of people that I considered my friends in other save files. It came to a point where it genuinely messed with my head, and I had to put the game down for a while. I find it to be a sign of its exceptional narrative now, but back then, yeah, it really messed with me. I understand that the genocide run of Undertale has such a cool boss fight near the end, and it really shows off a lot of very cool lore, but I don't think I could ever bring myself to doing it. I genuinely cried at the pacifist ending. I thought it was such a touching send-off. And I already know what happens in the genocide ending now that I've researched it a bit for this video. So I don't really think I'd get much out of it by doing it myself, besides a lot of pain. I don't know, I won't ever say never, and maybe when I'm in a better place mentally, I could give it a shot. But as it stands, I feel like I've gotten everything I've wanted out of this game. I am truly blown away by Undertale's ability to grab your emotions and stay with you long after it's over. You know, I think this game is a masterpiece, actually. Yeah, I think it's a masterpiece. Undertale. Dang, that really does sum it up, doesn't it? This game is just something spectacular. I 100% see why it has such a cult following. I 100% get the hype. I feel like I'm the last person in the world who's played Undertale, but if there's anyone out there who hasn't played it, let this be your sign. Just do it. Please don't let another day slip by where you don't participate in this masterpiece of an experience and a pinnacle of video game history. Toby Fox's story, music, world, everything is just an absolute joy to be a part of. The hilarious, the moving, the innovative, everything. What can I say that hasn't already been said? I'm sorry I'm at such a loss for words, but this game really is an experience I never realized I needed. And I just want everyone to get lost and fall in love with the underground and find a piece of themselves there, just like I did. Thank you to my friend Dan for providing me with this beautiful experience. I appreciate it so much, my man. So, what's the final verdict? Is Undertale worth $1 an hour? Yes, and give me DLC. A massive thank you to all of you who are members of the channel, especially the biggest patron of the month, my pal Johnny Appleseed. If you want to support the channel and gain access to cool perks like exclusive videos, let's plays, and more, click the join button to learn how. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Bye-bye.